Welcome back to the Daily Brief. We continue with our discussion right here on the lifting of the ban that had a majority of residents within Nairobi City, or those coming to the Nairobi City, trekking literally to their various destinations. And the ban has been lifted, suspended for some time to allow proper consultation and structures put in place so that it can finally kick off. I'd like to come to you, Stanley. Courtesy of the passing of or the gazettement of Notice 4479 in May 2017, subsequently there was a meeting in September. And by then, there was a unanimous decision made that you be given 1 year and you're going to look into all issues that require compliance to facilitate decongesting the CBD, to facilitate this move to be made by the county government. What have you been doing since then?
Now, we've been busy buying many vehicles, more vehicles.
To add to the existing more vehicles?
To add to the existing more vehicles, yeah. Because we thought that the county government will provide us with holding grounds. Actually, the governor said that we need to be having only 2 vehicles. And we try
at a time.
At a time, yeah.
Yes.
But now, somehow, because of this corruption that actually the governor has been talking about cartels. So cartels are the ones who sells slots in town. And can I, let me tell you, do you know that, like, if Nairobi has like 50 circles, half of those circles don't have slots. They are owned by cartels who don't have vehicles. And that is what we want to tell the governor now that he's there and listening to us, that there are so many people out there who owns slots or what we call stages or mashimo, but they don't have vehicles. So now what we need to do, if we may advise him, we need to, when they are giving those slots, they need to request for a letter from NTSA to show that you have been licensed. Because having a license, having a certificate of incorporation, or having a SACCO, registered SACCO, does not mean that you are supposed to operate matatus. So you need to have a letter from NTSA.
What I get from you is that per terminus, at a go, each SACCO is supposed to have at least 2 vehicles.
2 vehicles, yeah.
At least 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
Let's hold that thought. And listening to Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko, here's the address he made earlier today while he was lifting the ban.
On the 4th of December 2018, we have a press statement to release to the members of the public. But before I do that, let me first compliment our county officers for the good job they did yesterday. Also, I want to compliment all the police officers from the National Police Service for the good job and the concrete decision we made yesterday in efforts of decongesting our great city of Nairobi. We don't want to politicize this noble initiative we are about to implement. However, on humanitarian grounds, I wish to release the following statement as follows. Decongesting Nairobi City CBD of vehicular traffic and implementation of Gazette Notice number 4479 of 12th May 2017. I wish to state as here under. Yesterday, Monday 3rd December 2018, that Nairobi City County Government, with full support from the national government, effected Gazette Notice number 4479 of 12th May 2017, effectively banning public transport vehicles from the Nairobi Central Business District. This was part of measures to decongest the city center and followed months of planning as well as public and stakeholder participation. However, I have noted with deep concern the plight of Nairobi residents as a result of the ban, and hereby announce that the full implementation of this directive has been suspended with immediate effect. This is to facilitate further consultation with all affected parties in order to find a lasting solution to the problem of vehicular congestion. Although the directive is well-intentioned, many innocent commuters, including senior citizens and those with health challenges requiring emergency medical attention, expectant mothers, and children traveling with their parents, all suffered untold inconvenience, and this is regrettable. It also became clear that it is necessary to have contingent measures before enforcement of such key decisions. I have met this morning with the affected operators with a view of agreeing an acceptable solution that has less negative implication on all affected. During the coming days, we shall continue to hold discussions with affected parties to find a way forward. As a trustee of the executive power in Nairobi City County Government, I wish to reassure all commuters of the best interest of my county government to promote the best, most sustainable and most economical means of transport into and out of Nairobi. Choking traffic gridlocks have negatively affected all business in the county. These gridlocks have the impact of choking our socio-economic growth. The time to address this monster is now. We cannot procrastinate. We cannot lose any more time. We cannot pretend to be moving forward when every day we are stuck in traffic jams for hours. People are forced to wake up before dawn to try and beat the same traffic. This is what my government seeks a solution for. We must open a new chapter for Nairobi. Let us all be proactive to resolve these endemic traffic gridlocks that threaten our existence and growth as a proud emerging city. Let us also be the solution both at a personal and corporate level, not just the PSVs. Those among us who are neighbors should consider carpooling. Let us make public transport appealing to the point where we no longer shun. It is the name of class. Let us mind the environment too, to eliminate the rising number of polluting private cars. We must all pull together to dismantle the organized traffic attitudes and entrenched behaviors that lead to massive loss of man hours and burn fuel in traffic jams.
That was earlier. I mean, not the Matatus, but Nairobi County Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko giving an address lifting the ban to have PSVs access the CBD. He says he did it on a humanitarian ground. Yesterday, while he was before the Senate, he also said that his concerns were largely humanitarian because Nairobians don't go to the gym anymore and they need to trek to their various destinations. But I'm coming to you, Stanley. Before I come to you, Stanley, we had a press by the Matatu Circles Association reacting to this very press by Mike Mbuvi Sonko. Let's listen into what they had to say.
Tumekuja hapa sababu ya hiyo uplift ya ban na tumetoka mkutano na gavana wetu Mike Mbuvi Sonko ambaye tumenegotiate the ban, na we as Association of Matatu Operators tumenegotiate na gavana kwa kuwa tutarekebisha na tutadecongest Nairobi. Na kukongest Nairobi tumempatia memorandum, tumesign memorandum na ametupatia ultimatum ya 3 months. After 3 months kama hatujarekebisha hizo makosa zetu, nadhani tutakuwa tumeambia Nairobi bye bye. So ningeambia abiria wetu poleni sana kwa yaliyofanyika jana. Hatukuwa na otherwise, tumejaribu kimbia kotini, vitu zikarivokiwa. Waheshimiwa wamejaribu kusaidia left, right and center, imejaribu kuwa political, imeshindikana. Jana yote tumeshinda sisi wenyewe kama wenye matatu, tumetafuta governor na akatupatia appointment leo saa 11 asubuhi, na hata meeting inaendelea saa hii City Hall ya negotiation. Na currently as we are speaking, governor has already uplifted the ban through negotiating with us as AMO, Association of Matatu Operators. So 3 months from now, nadhani pia nyinyi wenyewe hata watu wa matatu washajionea ile kitu wajaona. Hatukuwa tuna expect jana. We thought it was just a joke. But tumekuja tumepata it was a serious case. Na pia tumepatia governor grievances zetu na shida zetu, na nani wanatusabotage ku congest Nairobi. So machairman wote wale wako huko ndani ya boardroom sasa as we are speaking, tushasikizana. Tukasema magari zote kuingia town ni magari 3 per sako. For example, kama ni Embasava zitaingia 3, kama ni Buruburu sako zitaingia 3, si kama kitambo magari zote zinakuja zikiingia yote mara moja.
That is Matatu Saccos Association reacting to the lifting of the ban by Nairobi County Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko. Kushian, you've listened to both sides, the governor's side and the Matatu Saccos Association side. Where does that leave you? I'm still coming to you, Stanley, in a bit.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
Even the thought, the simple hearing of him talk is just a sham. Because one thing, he's trying to tell us that he thought it was a joke. He himself, I don't believe he's a Matatu operator. These are the syndicates that we are talking about. You see, nobody thought it was a joke. The governor engaged the wrong people, the cartels. They kept quiet and did not inform us, the real owners of the vehicles, that we had a 14-day ultimatum for one reason or another. And then he's here telling us that we thought it's a joke. Yet I was not aware.
The information, though, has been out there, Kushian.
No.
But you haven't been aware. Stanley, what of you?
Now, as my brother is saying here, it's like, I think it's like we are joking with this Matatu business. Because the people who, let me answer that in Kiswahili because he spoke in that language.
No problem.
Wale watu nimeona hapo, they are the people who are, ni watu wale walikusanyishwa na governor ili wajaribu kumsaidia kwa hii mambo ya matatu. Because governor himself is a matatu man. If you can remember, there is a time when Kidero tried to remove us from city center. Governor was Nairobi Senate at that time. And he went to court. Na akapata orders. Now, what they are saying here, I think they are trying to hide their heads. Those people are the ones who registered a company without our knowledge so that they will deliver those BRTs, those chairmen, the likes of Kimtai, the likes of those who are talking here, how do we register your company? Sorry, nataka kuongea Kiswahili ndio wasikie.
No, hata ukichanganya ni sawa.
How do we register your company? Ili waondoe watu wa 14 seater Nairobi, waondoe watu wakiendelea hivyo from 25 seater kurudi nyuma. Now, wakati wamerealize, hata nimeona wakijaribu kubeba show, ati ni wao waliongea na governor. Governor himself yeye mwenyewe ameongea akasema niliona vile watu waliteseka. Na nikafikiria tupangilie mipangilio, but now wanataka kubeba hiyo credit kama vile niliona politicians yesterday Waligoja waone vile kutaenda na walijua kutakuwa hivyo, wakakimbia kotini kwa sababu wengine wanataka viti za 2022, wengine wanataka political mileage. The way Sonko did when he went to court.
Hold it right there, Stanley. It's not the first time that the now governor is seeing how people suffer. Because even when he was senator, when he was trying to fight what Kidero was trying to do, in his defense and justification then, he said, ameona vile watu wameteseka. So he has a preamble. He has past experience on what this kind of a move would do. So why go ahead and do it at the same time?
Again, he sat with wrong people.
What do you make of this situation, Miroro?
You know, one of the problems is when you listen to the governor, you see a person who is still at the stage of defining a problem. This country is 55 years old. This city is actually more than 55 years old. We need to see problems and get solutions and move now to the implementation stage. Because we have been talking about traffic jam for ages. Traffic jam for ages. Even when we were children in this city, there was traffic jam. The problem is we have never come up with a viable solution to resolve this. So continuing to define a problem, which even a street urchin who has not gone to school can define, is a waste of time as a public servant. So what we should focus on is solutions. One of the solutions that must be debated upon in this, on this issue of public transport is a mass public transport. Right railways to all areas with large populations in this town. This country invested 320 billion shillings 5 years ago to build a railway from Nairobi to Mombasa. If we invest a similar amount to do right railway in Nairobi, we'll have solved this problem halfway. Number two, if we are to chase out any vehicles from town, it is not public service vehicles. Whatever can crash, they can walk. But let us get everyone into the matatus.
Into public service.
Into public service.
Has it been streamlined enough to accommodate this?
You see, there's the rule of what we call proportionality. The majority should take the day. If majority of the people, you cannot exclude, like what happened yesterday, you cannot exclude over 90% of travelers just because 10% own vehicles. So 90% should also not be inconvenienced for the convenience of a smaller group of people. So what we are saying, it is either the smaller group chooses to follow the larger group, because we cannot sacrifice the interest of 90% of the people who live in this city because they travel through public transport. I'm telling you, and we have seen it 2 weeks ago when Matiang'i implemented the Michuki rules back. And even yesterday, there's proof that personal vehicles are the cause of traffic jam in this town. Because a matatu owner has no interest of coming to park the matatu in town. They park, they get passengers move. But an individual would come and park a vehicle from 8 to 8.
Well, initially they're supposed to come, pick a passenger.
This is a big,
initially they're supposed to come, pick passengers and move. But ordinarily, when you do a spot check, at times it doesn't happen as so. Right, Charles? Right, Stanley? Kushian, isn't it? At times it doesn't ordinarily happen as such. And therefore, to regulate this, and I'll be getting to that in a few, to regulate this, something needs to be done. But I'd like to come to you, Denning. Since the gazettement in 2017, what is the urgency that for some reason we've woken up in 2018 and we've remembered there's a gazette notice of 2017 that we need to be implementing, and therefore we've got to rush no matter what?
I think the governor is just being forgetful, because in 2017 he was against it. So what makes it a difference that right now he thinks it's the proper thing to do? And of course, at times, it's important to say it. I think Sonko needs a deputy, you know. At times, we may think that it's a joke, but I think he needs a deputy, because such things you'll find the deputy would have advised him otherwise, instead of relying on advisors and other people who run the cartel in the transport industry. So for me, I would say, really, there is no urgency in implementing this gazette notice. And at times we usually say there are laws that are usually passed, laws that are in vain. There are court orders that are usually given, court orders that are in vain. And that's why the judge yesterday could not issue such an order until the parties come to court, all of them. So I would say the persons who moved this motion and subsequently led to this Gazette notice are persons who did not have this thought in mind, are persons who had their own mileage that they were looking at. Because if you can say that let's chase, or rather let's ban public vehicles from the city, whereas you know very well we do not have the requisite infrastructure. How are we going to achieve it? So for me, I would say, let this Gazette notice be put in the shelf, let it gain the dust that it can gain until we have the proper infrastructure. And for a start, we can borrow, we can do benchmarking. The only problem with Kenyan legislatures and stakeholders, once we start benchmarking, billions are lost, and there's nothing that is achieved.
And again, benchmarking, does it really mean copy and paste?
Not really.
It doesn't really mean copy and paste. And I'm still coming to you. Kushian, 3 months is the time you've been given. Is it sufficient?
Let me tell you, honestly speaking, I think that time is more than sufficient. If the governor is ready to engage the right people, who are the real matatu owners. And as my colleague Stanley said here, all the governor needs for him to engage anybody, let them come with something from NTSA to show that they are registered members, because all these people don't have anything like that documentation. And with this, if he was to ask us, as the matatu operators, let me actually give you something that will be very interesting to you. Do you know, even if we were to operate from Ngara, and the others from Westlands, and vehicles come and they bring passengers to us there, it will be less headache for us as transporters, because at least you save me over 1,000 shillings fuel per trip, which I have to use to get into the CBD through the jam that is always there, that I believe is caused by these private vehicles that come at 6 in the morning and get a parking slot, then leave way after 6 p.m. Yet somebody has come from Nakuru, from Eldoret. So
what you're saying is that in 90 days we'll be able to achieve what we haven't been able to achieve in years.
That's what I'm coming to. If he is to engage us as the real owners of the matatus, we'll tell him this. And this is one of our proposals. Why doesn't he take, like, for instance, Moi Avenue, going backwards where the matatus actually are, and gazette them for public transport?
Exclusively?
Exclusively for public transport. Because there is no sense when you go to Garden City, just stand there at the bridge, look down. You see a line of 50 personal vehicles, private vehicles, and one bus. This one bus is ferrying 51 passengers, or 33 passengers. But all these are ferrying at most 60 passengers.
And let's
and
go
all
back
of them
to
are
the
coming to the
issue of
CBD.
structures and amenities. And I'm coming to you on this one, Stanley. When you look at the terminus issue, or termini, because there are several around the country, you said that each circle is supposed to have a vehicle, at least 2 vehicles at a time within the same terminus. Has that been the situation that has been happening?
No, it has not, because I think when the governor said that, to me, he was trying to save us from being chased from CBD. And being a former matatu man, governor himself, he knew that we somehow like to be in town. So he suggested that we look for our grounds.
He knew somehow you liked being in town.
That is me now.
Oh. We get you, continue.
Yeah, because now, so he said that we plan how we will be calling our vehicles here in town. But again, as my colleague said there earlier, I think there are people around the governor, in his office maybe, who are not telling him the truth. They are telling him we have holding grounds like that of Ngara, but there is none. Like yesterday, when you saw me, if governor can engage us, we will tell him this: Governor, we are ready to go to Ngara, But let our vehicles from Thika Road come all the way to Grove Cinema. Then they branch to Kirinyaga Road, off to Riverside, then to their destinations.
Capacity.
But now,
do we have capacity?
You know, those vehicles, these vehicles will not be somewhere standing.
It was the same assumption then that they will not be stationary. It was the same assumption, but it created more mess. So the question I'm asking, even logically speaking, because we've got a minute to wind this up, logically speaking, this area around Kencom, right?
Sorry?
Kencom area, we've got buses there, isn't it? When you look at Tomboya Street, literally we've got buses right, left, and center. It's not 2 at a time. We've got several trying to ply that route almost constantly. Who gives the licenses to these vehicles? Whom do they pay fees to? Isn't it the same county government?
Yeah, they pay to the county government.
So what have they been able to do managing that situation this far?
Most of these stages are the ones that I said are manned and managed by cartels.
I want to...
Final words from you, Kushian.
I wish to say this one thing, which is the most crucial of everything. These private vehicles should be taken as what they are. They are a luxury. Why don't you go to Sarova every day to have lunch? These are luxuries. These are luxury vehicles. And public transport is what should be given the upper hand. I wish the governor today can come up and say, this is a luxury. If you want to come to town using a personal vehicle, we'll charge you 1,000 shillings. And maybe this will reduce the jam. And then make parkings. Maybe you will see there's Kasarani Stadium, a very big kiwanja there that is not being used. They can build parkings there, whereby motorists can come, park their vehicles there, save 1,000 shillings on fuel on the jam, and use 20 shillings to get to town and back.
Kushian, is 3 months enough to build, to erect these structures, to facilitate what needs to be facilitated? Is 3 months enough, yes or no?
3 months might not be enough, but by discouraging people from using private vehicles, that will help in reducing the jam drastically and save man-hour. And
Kushian, Muchiri, Stanley, Kimure, thank you so much for coming in to the Daily Brief this day. I will be releasing you for the second hour, and I'll be retaining Miroro and Dennings, and we shall be looking at other issues, key among them the Form 1 placement process this far. But from the discussion you listened on set this morning, do you have the same question as I do? Because that which lingers in my mind is, who is fooling who? We'll be back in a moment.